Okay, you've said Prosperity Party would truly entertain federalism.
Yes.
You've said you're not gonna, do the fake thing that EPRDF used to do, right?
Sure.
How would you entertain federalism, the true federalism?
You know, federalism essentially is not about, putting something on paper. You can write a federal constitution within a few days or weeks. You can do, a lot of paperwork in terms of issuing legislations, rules, and regulations. But what is practically important in terms of building a genuine federalism is practically giving room for people to participate or actively practice what is written down there in the Constitution. Federalism essentially has two things, two very important things. One is self-rule. Self-rule is an important pillar of federalism. So if regional jurisdictions are provided in the Constitution in clear terms, so these regional governments should have complete autonomy to exercise their functions, their duties and responsibilities as clearly stipulated in the Constitution, with no intervention from the central government. This should be practiced. All the regional governments we have, including even Addis Ababa and Redwa, which are city administrations, should have complete autonomy of self-governance, self-rule in their day-to-day political and economic activities. This is very important. The second one is the shared rule. If we are a federal government, at the federal level, there is a shared rule where the federal government and the regional governments can administer the political and economic affairs of the country jointly. So this joint administration is clearly articulated in the Constitution and the legislations which are provided after the Constitution. This should be practically used. EPRDF tried to break this by, for instance, taking up the functions or the autonomies which were provided to the regional government and exercising it at the federal level, which was unconstitutional. There are about 27 proclamations which were broken under the TPLF rule, which practically broke the federal arrangement. So if at a Prosperity Party, if we have to change this, we have to clearly implement what is written in the Constitution, what is written in the proclamations to implement the Constitution.
Prosperity Party is being criticized by some ethnic affiliated parties and media guys and activists who based abroad, some of them, criticize saying that Prosperity Party is neo-unitary. But you're saying that you're going to implement practically the true federalism. You see? Yes. But they claim that Prosperity Party is a unitary party, is working to set a unitary government. What is your response for these guys?
Unitary party or unitary government is practically impossible in Ethiopia. Look, those of you who are attending this program, given the complexity of Ethiopia, given the ethnic complexity of Ethiopia, Ethiopia can never be governed in the future through a unitary government. Ethiopia, the practical diversity that we have, needs self-administration of nation, nationalities, and peoples. You can never bring this down. You can never break this and say we can govern Ethiopia through unitary government even for a week. You can never govern Ethiopia through unitary system even for a week. it is practically impossible, because Ethiopia is a land of diversity. This diversity is complex. And what we have to do is we have to strengthen the federalism, the self-rule, and we have to also strengthen the shared rule and build Ethiopia together in such a way that federal systems can be strengthened practically. And people see themselves in the federal system, effectively implementing their jurisdictions, their self-rule jurisdictions at the regional level, and also effectively seeing themselves in the federal system and participating and benefiting from the federal system is very important. Those of you who are blaming Ethiopia or the Prosperity Party for pro-unitary, Ethiopia can never be unitary system. It's not because of prosperity or because of other parties. Practically, Ethiopia can never be a unitary system. Any party even coming in the future, thinking of governing Ethiopia for even a week, should never think of a unitary system. It is naturally appropriate to govern Ethiopia through a federal arrangement.
Thank you. Okay. The sixth national election will be carried out after some 6 months, right? How far have you gone? I mean, how far Prosperity Party has gone to conduct this election?
You know, the sixth national election that Ethiopia is aiming to conduct this year is a continuation of the grand national reform that has been practiced over the last 2.5 years. This national reform is a very important reform, which is a turning point for Ethiopia. It's a turning point for Ethiopia. Because if you go back 3 years back and see the overall political crisis that was in Ethiopia before 3 years, Ethiopia, I can say, was on a crossroad. So lifting Ethiopia from this crossroad and putting it in a very important, stable situation needs a genuine democratic transformation, a genuine political transformation. This genuine political transformation is exercised through free, fair, and democratic election. This election is the election which we are awaiting in front of us. To lift Ethiopia out from crisis and to build stable and prosperous Ethiopia in East Africa, we need to have free, fair, genuine election which can help to have legitimate government in Ethiopia. That is why when I speak in front of you here, I'm not talking about the upcoming election as a party member or a party leader. No. I am talking about the election in front of us as a citizen, as a responsible citizen. As a responsible citizen, the election in front of us is very important turning point in the history of Ethiopia. Genuinely, all citizens should accept this election, consider this election as the most important election in the history of Ethiopia and Ethiopians. That is why when I speak about preparation for the election in front of us, I have to see Ethiopia as a big picture, not as my party. So preparation as a party is simple, simple. As a party, you participate, you sell your party programs and manifesto, and you conduct election campaigns and get some seats in the party. That is not the purpose of Prosperity Party this year.
Okay, in what way will you...
Yes, that's what I'm going to speak. Okay. In Ethiopia, over the last 2.5 years, the political reforms and the very big measures that have been taken over the last 2 years have tried to open up the political space. Tried to open up the political space by, for instance, calling home all the political parties who were exiled because of the hostilities, the political hostilities that we had in this country. This is one. Two, almost all prisoners, political prisoners, were released from prison over the last 2.5 years. And the media space is now opened. These are the opportunities that have been created over the last 2.5 years so that we can move to genuine democratic transition. This genuine democratic transition is conducted or realized by the election which we have in front of us. So that is why, as a prosperity party, we have to work towards realizing this overall grand political transformation, not participating as a party and winning the election. That's one aspect of the party. That's very simple. But we have to realize, and we have to practically realize the promises that we have made for Ethiopian people. If you see the inaugural speech of our Prime Minister, Abiy, 2.5 years before, that he has made openly to the Ethiopian people, there was a very big promise to truly transform Ethiopia into a democratic regime by conducting free, fair, and democratic election, which is we are waiting in front of us. That is why the preparations are being done so that parties can freely move and conduct their campaigns and sell their ideas, programs, policies, strategies to the public, and freely organize their support, and so that we can have free and fair election in front of us. This is one. Yeah.
In what way will you carry out this election? Because most of the the contestants are region affiliated parties, but when it comes to prosperity, it's national, right? How can a national party compete with regional parties?
That's a very important question. You know, in Ethiopia, there are a lot of parties. There are a lot of practically operating parties, but most of them are, as you said, regional parties, and even most of them are ethnic-oriented parties. But these ethnic-oriented parties, I believe, have their own party programs, have their own manifestos that they are going to sell to the public. But Prosperity Party is a national party which is going to contest or provide its candidates all over Ethiopia. And Prosperity is going to, bring about 547 candidates for all the parliamentary seats we have in the parliament. And the regional parties, particularly ethnic affiliate parties, we may have only limited constituencies. This limited constituency, unless they form either a coalition or a front or some sort of partnership with other parties, may affect the democratic transition, because they have limited constituency, limited area of operation, area of function, which may have negative implications in truly democratizing Ethiopia. What we have been advising over the last 2.5 years is to these parties to form some form of coalition or front or some form of merger even, so that we can have very strong, big parties, maybe 4 or 5 parties, that can have a national impact in the political system of the country. I hope and I believe some of the parties will do this even in the remaining time, so that we can have stronger parties that can, have power in terms of providing sufficient number of candidates for the parliamentary and regional seats, and also to have very strong party programs and policies that can have a very good choice for citizens. This is very important.
Good, Doctor. Okay, which governing system best fit for Prosperity Party? Is that presidential or parliamentary? As you well know, the current political reform in Ethiopia, particularly the rebranding and renewing of EPRDF into Prosperity Party, is conducted within the existing constitutional framework. So the existing constitutional framework, as you clearly know, is a parliamentary system. So
unless otherwise the constitution is changed in the future, maybe through constitutional amendments is done through adequate public participation in the future when the need comes. Currently we operate under the existing constitutional framework of parliamentary system. So we think that how can Prosperity Party run its political programs under the constitutional framework of parliamentary system of governance? That's what we are doing now.
Okay, how would Prosperity entertain capitalism?
Yeah, as I said earlier, you know, one of the political and economic issues that we have in Ethiopia lies under the existing situation, under the current situation of the Ethiopian political and economic issues. One is the Ethiopian society, the Ethiopian economy should be built under the existing economic situation of the country. One, we work for progressive capitalism, which more moves from state intervention towards more and more private sector economy. This is a capitalism. It is a progressive capitalism which progresses to empower the private sector and an economy that can, you know, embrace all segments of the society. Multi-sectoral capitalism, which accommodates the agriculture, industry, service, and also all other segments of the agriculture, the economy, which was not practically given attention in the EPRDF regime. Therefore, it is a progressive capitalism, accommodative, which focuses on supply economy, shifting from demand-driven economy to supply-driven economy, focusing on productivity, supply, and more on private sector accommodation and participation.
Okay, you have, highlighted in your prior response, actually. Can you a bit elaborate the political position of Prosperity Party?
Yeah, the political position of the Prosperity Party, as we all said, is multi-ethnic, inclusive federalism. Multi-ethnic inclusive federalism is the appropriate political choice that we have given the current situation of Ethiopians. This is based on building a true federalism, which is essentially effectively realizing the self-rule and the shared rule issues which are stipulated in the constitution but which have not been practically implemented in practical terms. One. Two, the political idea that we have focuses on both individual rights and group rights are effectively accommodated. Individual rights in the sense that individual citizens are free, politically free, economically free to participate and to benefit from. So individual freedom is given due attention, and also group rights are given due attention. Group rights are given due attention in terms of their identities, ethnic diversities, religious diversities, cultural diversities should be given due attention and respect in such a way that group rights of citizens should be given due consideration.
Okay, what is the criterion to be member of Prosperity Party?
To be a member of Prosperity Party, there is no very different criteria. One, you have to understand and accept the party program. Two, you have to be ready to be governed by the party bylaws, and you have to be committed to adequately contribute your time, knowledge, and whatever you have for the success and for the effective implementation of the party programs. And you have to be an Ethiopian citizen. These are the things. So look, it's inclusive. It's inclusive. Prosperity Party doesn't exclude citizens on the basis of ethnicity, on the basis of citizen, on the basis of religion, or on the basis of any identity line. That's why we are inclusive. We give due respect and attention for individual rights. We give due respect and attention to group rights. And if you believe in that and be ready to pay sacrifice to realize these things, then you can be a member.
Okay, what is the hierarchical structure of Prosperity Party, top to down?
Yeah, Prosperity Party is, as any formal party, has very strong institutional arrangement from the top to the down. One is the Prosperity Party Assembly, General Assembly. This General Assembly is the strongest, the biggest organ, the biggest political decision-making organ of Prosperity Party is the General Assembly. This is there. And we have also the Prosperity Party Central Committee, and the Prosperity Central Committee is the next powerful organ within the system. And there is also Prosperity Party Executive Committee below the Central Committee. We have the Prosperity Party President and also Vice Presidents. And at the regional level, we have regional prosperity parties. Don't be mistaken with it. It's not a branch. It's not a branch. It's a regional prosperity party. They have their own clearly articulated mandates put in the bylaws, and they have adequate jurisdiction there in the bylaws, and they exercise that. And at the regional level, they have their own conferences, regional party conferences, and there are also arrangements, decisions that are made at the regional level. Below the region, there is also zonal prosperity parties, Warada prosperity parties, and also Kabale prosperity parties. These arrangements are there with clearly articulated functions that they can exercise at their different levels of the structure.
Okay, you are, Prosperity Party's public and international relations head, right?
Sure.
How far have you gone in promoting Prosperity Party for diasporas who live abroad and for global communities?
Yeah, it has been a solid 1 year since Prosperity Party was rebranded. The central office, this is the central office of the Prosperity Party, and is trying its best to introduce Prosperity Party, the rebranded new Prosperity Party, to the world. And not only the party, but also its programs, its ideological departures, its political departures are being promoted to the world. But the world may not adequately know about Prosperity Party within this short period of time. But we have to very strongly work in terms of promoting the Prosperity Party so that the brand, the ideological lines, the political, economic programs of the party can be adequately sold to the world. We are working on that, and I fully admit that it's not adequately promoted so far. But we will do in a very short period of time in such a way that the Prosperity Party can be a known party at a global level.
Okay, Dr. Bikila, thank you very much. I am really glad to have such wonderful dialogue with you, because this is a very high time to promote Prosperity Party for global communities and dealers in the country as well. Do you have anything to say?
Yeah, Prosperity Party is a party for human beings, for citizens, and a very friendly, human-friendly, citizen-friendly party that can work toward this accommodating the complex interests of human beings without, ethnic and religious segregations or exclusions. And all citizens, all Ethiopian citizens who fulfill the criteria for being a member of Prosperity Party can apply and become part and parcel of the Prosperity